I have to say, I haven't paid this channel enough attention, and it is about time that I change that. So, in order to start with that much needed change, let's talk about this, the Electric State. This is a gem. This is an absolute gem, and before you ask, it doesn't really have much to do with the movie. Let's take a look inside. Okay, the Electric State, by the way, these are, some, what is this? I don't know. Some character sheets that we've been playing with my friends in here. Ta-da. Okay, and there's some handouts. So just so you can see, I have played this. And firstly, taking a look at the game, it is very different from what you were able to see in the movie. The game is a lot more ominous, and although you could be tricked to believe that this is a light game because of the absolutely gorgeous illustrations with some very, very bright colors in some cases, like let's find one that will be one of the ones that would be really, I'm not going to say misleading, but that could give you the wrong impression, something like this. Or where are the ones in the desert, which look just bright and beautiful? Believe me, it's got nothing to do with that. And if we take a deeper look at the artwork, we will see that things change quite dramatically. So the moment we start experimenting a little bit, we can see exploring a little bit, we can see an awful lot of details, like here, where we see people literally dead by the side of the car, and we see somebody in the background, perhaps a traveler of sorts with a robot going around. The story behind this game is dark AF. Seriously dark. This is a post-apocalyptic, or I should say apocalyptic, because things are going down as the game progresses. The world has changed immensely, and the whole game takes place here in Pacifica. This is what's left of the United States that we know as of today. And the whole continent is broken, the whole world is broken, and this is more or less the space where our journey is going to take place, where we're going to go from one place to another. There is this massive cyber network of computers that allow people to get into these virtual worlds. Basically, like if you think of Ready Player One, that but darker, considerably darker, because that is achieved through a drug called neurine, which you are going to inject in your brain as you put on, let me find some helmet. This helmet that will inject neurine. The problem is that neurine is highly addictive. If on top of that you get the idea that this world is ending and is horrible, these neuroscapes provide with the escapism that people need to get away from their woes. Sort of like what will happen if you could turn your role-playing games into a reality, and they could be your escapism. That is, believe me, pretty dark. And I have to say, the movie didn't reflect that. The movie was more like a family film, and it just didn't feel at all like it. In terms of character creation is easy. Okay, there's nothing weird about that. They call it your traveler, because you're going to be traveling. The premise of the whole game is that this is going to take place on a journey. In a journey, you start from one place where you find some people with a common destination, not necessarily a common goal, but a common destination, and you're going to gang together to get a vehicle of sort and go. Considering that this takes place in the 90s, in the 1990s, there is a displacement of the technology that you know and the technology that you don't. Don't get me wrong, for some people who are younger, they are going to feel like very retro. But for people like me who lived the 90s, and it was one of the decades where we developed as human beings, playing here brings a sense of nostalgia that is very appealing and helps the immersion and how to break illusions and how to break our, past, because everything is darker. So to hear things like Nirvana or the kind of cars that we used to have at the time, the kind of technology with the dial-ups and with not very good mobile phones, plays with this sense of the world is ending. That was so weird at the time because it was a time of flourishing. It's quite something. It is very, very, very interesting, and is one of the things that we really love of this game, my friends and I. To create your traveler, you're going to follow a number of steps. And although you would see here that there are 17, and it may feel like it is a lot, believe me, it isn't. It is not. The system is still Year Zero engine, which I absolutely love. This system I like very much because it's extremely simple and easy to get to grip with. I have somebody at the door. Be right back. I like the Year Zero engine because it's so flexible and it's literally so simple. I mean, it took me a little bit when I first played Forbidden Lands how to get to grips with it, but once you do, you can do so many things with it. You're going to be rolling a number of d6s that are going to fit with your character. So, for example, in these characters that we rolled up for my friends, we have 4 different abilities, which are strength, agility, wits, and empathy. You have a number of health points, you have a number of hope points, and you're going to be rolling these dice. Now, unlike other freely games, this is very much a conditioned, so to speak, game. What do I mean with this? In every game, you're going to have, a number of abilities. And although here you do, but what you're going to have instead are talents. There are things that you do very well, and therefore you roll a number of dice. But it's got nothing to do with things like athletics or orientation or fighting. That sort of thing will be given by the equipment that you own. So if you have to roll to navigate the roads, you will get a number of extra points, extra dice, if you have a compass or a map, for example, or if you have already navigated that area, then you get a little bit something. So it can be transient. It's something that today you have a compass and tomorrow you don't have it, so you are not as good as you used to be. I like that kind of change a lot because it's kind of like real life. You can be very good at things if you have studied them, of course, but which is what these talents are all about. But you become better at doing things if you have the tools that enable you to do them better in the first place. So like going someplace, if you have your mobile phone with GPS, you're going to be better than if you don't. So that's kind of how the game plays, and that I like very much. Something else that changes in here is that you have to ask for things like your favorite song from the 90s. What is your dream? What are your flaws? Characters are very emotional. They are very realistic. And I have enjoyed that quite a lot. You see here in the gear, you get the pluses that will allow you to do better. That's what I meant with these things being transient and being dependent on what equipment you have, what gear you own. And of course, we have a number of archetypes, developing the traveler that are going to give us some ideas. You don't have to follow this to the letter. You can create your own, but we get the artist, the criminal, the doctor, the devotee, investigator, drone pilots, because yes, let's not forget that in this game, you can take your whole mind and transfer it to a drone that you can navigate, whether it is remotely or whether it is transferring your mind completely to that machine and leaving your body behind, which can happen. So these are different kind of archetypes than the ones that you're used to playing. And all of them come with their angst, which is pretty good. Now, I want to show you this. This is your, and you get your health, and you get something different. In other games from Free League, you have stress, willpower. Here, they have turned them into something very different. You get points of hope, and you get bliss. Hope is what keeps you on this plane of existence. It is what drives you as a person. They say hope is the last thing you lose, and this is kind of what this game plays with, which is interesting. Bliss, which may sound like a very good thing, but it isn't necessarily a good thing. Why? Because you're going to be accumulating bliss as you are inside the neuroscapes. Unfortunately, what that does is that it lures you into staying in the neuroscape. It doesn't want you to go, it wants you to stay there because that's going to be feeding the machine, and the machine, in some places, we don't even know where it's going. So as you accumulate bliss, you lose hope. Your hope becomes meaningless. And that can be very dangerous. That can lead you to later on, in order to recover hope, have to talk to people, have to do things that will help you recover hope. And sometimes that's nowhere near as easy as it should be. And that is something that we have to keep in mind. So as you see, the game, I'm not going to be talking a lot more about it because I'm going to be doing more videos. I want to talk more about the adventures that it comes with, which I have already played, and they are quite dark and amazing. There are a number of adventures, 4 of them in fact, that will take you right into the thick of it. You have some threats that you have to think about very carefully how to implement. And I want to do more videos about this game because I really feel that we are not talking enough about it. Exactly the same as Weizen took and became my favorite horror RPG, because there's so many things that you can do and it is so easy to adapt. This has become one of my favorite science fiction games because it gives you so many opportunities to do things differently, to bring your own ideas, your own horror. And it's so full of contrasts that to me, that is very, very inspiring. Also, it comes with a solo mode, which I will talk about at length in another place. But I'm going to tell you now that it's not just a solo mode. In fact, I think it's a lot better as an adventure creation engine than a solo mode itself. You'll find out how and why when I do the video. But I'm not going to go much further, much longer with this. I would like to know if you have played the Electric State and what you made of it. What is that you liked and you didn't like? What are you changing into this game to make it better for you? Because one thing about this game is that because it's based on the real 1990s, the 90s were different where you lived. The 90s in Spain, where I live, were very different from the 90s in the United States or in France or anywhere else in the world. So I would like to know, how have you changed to adapt it to your 1990s? Stay tuned. I'm Paco, I'm the Free Leaguer, and soon we're going to come back with a lot more.